How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. So in today's episode of Vanguard 101, I wanted to discuss different playstyles in COD and how to help you sort of choose your own. Because obviously it's good to be diverse for your playstyle, but most people are going to be better in one area than the other. I'm also going to link it towards sort of CDL positions and where you see some of your favourite COD players play, that sort of thing really, just to give you some advice on how to play in those certain roles. So without further ado, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And we'll get straight into it now. So, I would say that you could probably break down each COD playstyle into two different categories, one being fast and one being slow. Well, slow, we won't say slow, but the fast would be using an SMG, bit of a rush-in type player, so you're running around getting those kills. And as I said, the slower based player would probably be using an AR or a sniper, something along those lines. They're going to be taking out enemies from afar or watching over their enemies. So, basically, I'd sort of break these down even further. So we'll look at the rusher class first. So I'd say there's two types of rusher that you could be. That'd be a slayer, like somebody like Optic Scump, for example. I'm sure you all know him if you've been around the COD scene for a while. So what a slayer would do is sort of run around the mid-map. He's going to be looking for sort of flanks and just getting into the enemy spawn and getting behind them, taking out those players. So if you want to take on this role, then you've got to be making sure that your movement is on point and also your gun skill as well, because you're going to be winning those gunfights. And you're not necessarily looking to capture the objectives, but we'll get onto that soon. But if you're playing close to the objective, then you're going to be wanting to take out the enemies and defending your teammates, that are capturing the flag, for example. So yeah, you probably want to be using an SMG with this one, so you can slide around the map and also just support your enemies that are on the front line with you as well. And then I would say the second type of rusher would be a sort of objective-based player. So someone like Envoy, for example, he's pretty good at this. So what they do is, well, as it says in the name, they're going to be rushing around up close, trying to get behind the enemies and just jump onto the flag and capture those points for your team, whilst getting supported by the other players. Also, with this class, it's going to be important to sort of be nice and aggressive, getting right up close to the enemies, and have good map knowledge of the objective points. So, for example, in Hardpoint, having a rough idea where the next sort of objective is going to be before it comes up, so then they can start making a nice early rotation, and this is super important. Obviously, this does matter as well if your teammates are playing with you as well. It's good to have roles in the team and not just running around sort of aimlessly. But yeah, it depends on your team a lot of this as well, but it's fun to play objective. Obviously everybody loves an objective player, although it is kind of uncommon sometimes when you're playing with randomers. Now onto the sort of slower based players that are going to be looking over your teammates. We sort of call them a main AR, that's in a CDL, so somebody like Optic Formal or Clayster or maybe Octane. Those guys are really good at the long range guns. So basically their sort of role is to hold down a nice power position towards the back of the map. It doesn't have to be though, it can be overlooking an objective as well, but this is where you're going to pick up a lot of kills. So for this player, it's not going to be sort of based on capturing the objectives, it's more to just look over your teammates and just watching their sort of flanks and watching the crosses. So then you're going to be picking up kills like this. Anyway, it's also a good idea to play quite a few streaks with this one, because you're going to be holding back. Obviously you need to be pretty good at handling a gun at range, so you're going to be using, nice accurate AR. So in this game, I know everybody's using it, but something like the STG would be perfect for this. But yeah, so you want to be sort of watching the cutout routes. So, I don't know, say you want to sort of hang back, say this hard point moves direction. You want to put yourself in a position where you can see where the enemies are going to cross from, whilst your teammate goes to capture it. And just sort of giving them support, really. It's not really camping necessarily, because you're not just sat in a corner, but if you're moving around a power position, say there's like a building with a lot of different windows in it, you can get some nice lines of sight over the enemies that are trying to capture the objectives. It's also a good idea to learn a lot of the line of sights on the games, because obviously you're going to be holding down the longer angles as an AR player, so it's a good idea to sort of get to knowledge of different spots and sort of routes you can take to get yourself in a good position to take out the enemies. Now, I'd say part 2 of this kind of longer range player would be a sniper, which is quite obvious, but if you're a sniper, it's not really classed as hardscope, and I know a lot of people do, but if you hold down the long routes and just keep your teammates' backs sort of in your aim, then you can sort of watch over them whilst they try and plant objectives and that sort of thing. But it does depend on what sort of sniper you want to be. I know a lot of you are going to be sort of more aggressive with it, and that's fine. That just means you want to focus more on sort of ADS speed, so you can just rush around, but you also have to have confidence in your sort of quick scoping ability. But if you're going to be playing like this, then sometimes it is better just to use an SMG or an AR, but we'll see. Depends on your sort of playstyle really. Now, the last player that I'm going to be talking about is kind of a support role, also known as a flex role. So basically, it's in the name really. You can be an objective player and play for kills, or you could hang back with an AR and support those teammates. This sort of just depends on how you're feeling and how the game's going really. You can switch it up midway. So if the sort of players that are on the objectives need help, you can switch to an SMG and maybe get up close and personal. But also you can hang back if your sort of SMG players are already doing it for you. But yeah, like I say, it depends on sort of what you're wanting to do that game, and you can just play around the whole map really. So to play like this, you sort of need to be pretty confident with any gun really. You can use sniper, AR, SMG, just getting around the map and just going where they sort of need help. If you see your teammates losing gunfights in a certain area, maybe go and help them out as well. But there we have it. That's all of the sort of player types we're going to be talking about today. So to break it down pretty much further, you know, if you're going to be a rusher that's more of a slayer looking for kills, you want to be using an SMG, getting up close and personal with the enemies. And then if you're going to be more of an objective based rusher, you can also do the same, but just obviously play the objectives. So just know the sort of different cover spots you can go in whilst you're inside of an objective. Keep moving around as well, it's not a bad idea, just so you make yourself a harder target to hit. It's also a good idea just to sort of learn the rotations of the different hardpoints if you're playing in hardpoint, and just know where each flag is, domination, the bomb sites in search, and that sort of thing really. And then for the longer range players, if you're a main AR, know all the key power positions of the map. If you want to, go check out my last video, which was sort of every power position on each map on multiplayer for Vanguard, so it's always a good idea to keep them in mind. Also good to know the different jump spots up to them as well, know your flanks, and know when to move out as well. And if you're a sniper, like I said, build your sniper, depending on how you want to play. So if you're going aggressive, then you want to build it more faster, and that sort of thing. And if you're a support player, just get to know all the different guns and sort of start leveling them all up, so you do have that option to sort of choose which gun you want to use and switch between them all. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was only a brief one where we're talking about different playstyles, but as I said, this series is starting off like beginner tips and tricks, so this is just a good one to sort of get your head around the game and how you want to play, because it is a good idea to choose a sort of role rather than just switching all the time and not getting anywhere with it. You'd rather sort of progress with a certain class or gun and playstyle, so then you can just get really good at that one and switch out when you feel you need to. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Don't forget to comment down below any sort of tips and tricks you want to see in this series, as I'm really enjoying making it so far, and the support has been pretty crazy so far, so thank you all for that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.